My name is Mike Finnegan. I'm here with Patrick Wall to my left, and we're here today as part of the Child Protection Action Plan and Settlement Agreement in the John Doe 1 case. And today we're releasing here and on our website the file of Donald Dummer, a priest who worked in this Archdiocese for a number of years. We're here and we call this press conference because what these documents show are two very, very dangerous things to our community here and across the country. The first is that the Vatican embassy chose to avoid scandal instead of protecting children. The second is that there's a possible destruction of evidence of child pornography by top officials here in this Archdiocese and with the religious order involved. That's by Kevin McDonough and Father Hippus. So two very, very dangerous practices that we see in these documents. The Vatican attempting to avoid scandal and the destruction of evidence of child pornography. What we're going to do now is walk through some of the documents that are in here for you and give you the highlights. First, Donald Dummer was here going back. He was here since about 1980. But in 1997, a part-time worker at St. Mary's, where Donald Dummer was working, found a number of VCR movies. One of them he was shocked by was a video of boys 10 to 12 years of age playing basketball nude. What this concerned worker did is he took this video and delivered it to the chancery and turned it over to Kevin McDonough's secretary. He got no response. He called McDonough, and McDonough didn't do anything about it. This is 1997. Next, in 1998, this same co-worker of Donald Dummer's again found more videos in Donald Dummer's room. One of the videos included homosexual acts between teenagers. He describes it as being 18 or 19-year-olds. Again, he calls the Vicar General, Kevin McDonough, calls him and tells him, we have this. McDonough tells him, bring this over to the chancery and drop it off with his secretary, Judy Delaney. That's exactly what this coworker did. Again, let's see what he did. He waited and waited, heard nothing from the Vicar General. So he called McDonough again. He asked if he had checked it out, and McDonough said yes, and that he had destroyed the videos. Kevin McDonough told this worker that he had destroyed the videos that he had dropped off. This is 1998. Next, in 2002, this same co-worker, he's gotten nowhere now with the Archdiocese and with Kevin McDonough. Twice he's brought videos to Kevin McDonough, possible child pornography, and gotten nowhere, and was told that the videos the second time was destroyed. And so in 2002, this worker finds more evidence of possible child pornography, takes that to a group called Catholic Parents Online here in the cities. You see that down here. And what they did together was wrote a letter. They went above Kevin McDonough and went to the Vatican's embassy, the Holy See's embassy in Washington, D.C. And they sent this letter in January of 2002. One of the reasons that they said, there were a bunch of complaints that they had about Dummer. One of them they said was possible child sexual abuse. They also enclosed 3 videos that they gave in a sealed bag to the Vatican embassy. And what they said was, please advise to consider if the videos are worth removing from the plastic bag. This goes in January of 2002. They also included, along with this, the letter that we just read from that talked about the 1997 video about having kids playing basketball in the nude, and the 1998 video of homosexual acts between teenagers. That letter is included here. That's what goes to the Vatican's embassy in 2002. So the Vatican embassy takes this material, and what they do, instead of reporting this to the police, instead of removing Dummer, they send this stuff. They take it and send it back to Archbishop Flynn here in the Archdiocese, 2002. They admit in their letter that they got the materials from Catholic Parents Online and this co-worker. They have the letter, the January 2002 letter, and they also had 3 videos of a questionable nature. They take these, send them back to Harry Flynn, Archbishop Flynn. And in their letter to Archbishop Flynn, the real dangerous part here for our communities is that what they're concerned about and what they talk about in their letter is that this came from Catholic Parents Online. And they say, thus, the potential for public scandal and the dissemination of these troubling allegations are evident. Right here, they get accusations of child sex abuse, possible child pornography. Their concern is about public scandal and that this might get out. On the next page, when they send this back to Harry Flynn, they tell Harry Flynn, may I kindly ask you, any consultation you may have with the above-mentioned parties, so Catholic Parents Online and this co-worker, please do so without reference to that's the word for the Vatican Embassy, in order to maintain confidentiality. So essentially, keep us out of this. They have the evidence. Don't go to the police. Don't take this guy out. They send it back to Harry Flynn and say, keep us out of it, and we're worried about scandal here. Once that evidence gets back here, Harry Flynn takes it and he gives it to Father Joseph Hippis, right down here. He's the head of the Oblate Superiors here in St. Paul at that time. And what he did is he took the videos and then he confronted Dummer. Donald Dummer, he denied that he ever had any child pornography. And Hippis advises them that the material is inappropriate. And the real dangerous part here with the Oblates is that they tell Dummer that he should get rid of anything else that he might have in his possession. And they also make the shocking admission, I will dispose of the tapes. So he's saying in this document, he writes back to Flynn, those videos that went to the Vatican and came back here now are destroyed. Harry Flynn, after this, takes this and writes back to the Vatican, back to the embassy, to tell them what the status is. Right here's the letter, and in that letter they say that they're enclosing the letter from the superior to me, which followed our meeting. And so what they did is they enclosed the letter from Hippis back to the Vatican, saying, essentially, it said, this is done, tapes are destroyed, we've taken care of it. And then the last letter is an admission from the Holy See, from the Vatican's embassy, that they got the letter concerning Dummer. So again, what we have here is we have the Vatican's embassy in Washington, D.C., the top officials here making choices to protect themselves and their reputations to avoid scandal instead of protecting kids. Extremely, extremely dangerous. We also have them with these documents talking about the destruction of possible evidence. This is information that should have went to the police, and Donald Dummer should have been removed. After 2002, instead of removing him, instead of taking him out and getting him away from people, they had him at Regions Hospital here in St. Paul for another 4 years after this, where he was working, had access to patients, had access to kids, and nobody was warned, nobody knew about this, and this name was never made public until 2 or 3 weeks ago and was made public as part of this settlement. Pat Wall?
Want to especially say thank you to all the survivors who allowed this to represent them, because without them, these documents would have been lost forever. They would have been secret. They would have been sitting in the archives, the Archdiocese, for all this time. But for people coming forward to help us fight in order to get these documents, none of this would ever have been known. It would have been one of those secrets. With that in mind, you also have to know Donald Dummer just didn't poof appear out of nowhere. He was ordained in 1964. He served in the Archdiocese of Milwaukee and Fond du Lac for a while. So I'm thinking of this as a risk management position here. He also served at St. Anne's in Black Duck in the Diocese of Crookston. He had problems in Crookston. That's what the file talks about. What the problems exactly are, that's for the Diocese of Crookston to answer. What the problems he had previous to that, that's for the Oblates of Mary Immaculate to answer. Those files are simply sitting over on Mississippi Boulevard. All of these files, to fill in the entire picture of the Donald Dummer disaster, can be found out, and they're sitting in church archives. And that's why we need to continue to fight to get the rest of the documents, so that this secret doesn't go silent. Silence is the biggest danger here, isn't it? And the thing I hope that people start to realize is there's no such thing as a victimless crime when it comes to child porn. All those poor kids that are in those videos, I don't know if we'll ever have that evidence. I don't know if they've destroyed it all. But those kids were hurt. And again, the top officials of the Archdiocese chose to protect the institution instead of the kids that were in those videos, and instead of stopping Donald Dummer when they could. Again and again. This also brings into greater context so that you understand that the way that the John Shelley case was handled, so that there is a learning curve to this. The institution does know how to deal with child porn. And now when you see how Kevin McDonough handled the John Shelley case, you see it as a different procedure. The other concern that you have to wonder about is how much information is sitting under diplomatic immunity, sitting at the Papal Nuncio's office. So obviously we have a lot more questions, but the great thing that has happened because of the production of this file is a secret has been put forward. Hopefully our kids will be safer, and hopefully now there will be clear resolution, so that when people get information about child porn, you don't take it to the Vicar General, that you take it to the police immediately. How many times did they continue to take information to the church? And the church, like all institutional life, chose to protect itself instead of the kids. So it's a sad day to know. And again, it's an obliteration of this so-called view of integrity, of holiness, that they are just regular guys like everyone else, and they needed to be treated equally under the law.